All right, guys, let's get started today. It's I don't know that this is going to be a long one. We might get out a few minutes early. We'll see. And what I plan to do with this one, everybody needs a handout and a Bible and a pen. What I plan to do with this one is start with a discussion, start with I don't like to call them a lecture, but start with a discussion and then break up into groups at the end. Okay? So we'll break up into groups at the end. Now, for those of you who don't know, or it's been a while, we are in Christian Worldview. Christian Worldview, a study of understanding how to follow Christ. Sometimes people call it a Bible worldview or biblical worldview. I prefer Christian worldview for many reasons. Guys, y'all want handout? Oh, look at that. We need a wife's day. We need to do a happy wife's day. Husband's day. That joke, just Jabez, that joke. No response. No response on that. Christian Worldview, talking about how we can better be like Christ. It's 23 sessions, and we are in session 20, economics. So we only have 3 to go. History, technology, and then a wrap-up. So looking at economics, let us think about how we can have a Christian view of economics. What is the purpose of money? Can someone read Colossians 1:16 for us? It's written there in full.
All things are created through Him and for Him.
Now, that Him there is Christ. Colossians says all things were created through Christ and for Christ. So what about money? Money what?
Created through Him and for Him.
Created by Christ for Christ. Do we believe that? Do Christians believe that? Not all the time. I've heard it said, and I believe it. I've heard psychologists say this. I've heard preachers say this. I've heard therapists say this. I've said it. Show me your search history and your checkbook, and I can tell you what you believe. Because it's one thing to say what we believe, it's another thing to do what we believe. And worldview is concerned with the things that we do, what we hold to be true, and how we spend our time and how we spend our money shows us who we are. Benjamin Franklin famously said, "If you love life, then value time. For life is what." I'm getting this backwards, but you get the point. Life is what time is what life is made of. That sounds wrong, but you get the point, right? If you value life, you must value time. I would argue that if you value quality of life, you should also value money. Also knowing that money equals life. Why would I say that money equals life or time? Why is money a synonym for life or time? Why would we say that money is a synonym for life or time? We don't normally think of it in that way. But why would I say that?
Because money is you can exchange it for things and stuff.
Money is an exchange for things. That's half of the equation. What's the other half? We don't think about this enough. Trust me.
We spend most of the time making money.
You give your life in exchange for money, then you take that money and exchange it for things. Yes? You exchange your life for money. That's how money works. Money is a value that we place on things, but we value it in life. And it's always been that way. And we don't ever think about that. It's why the wealthy, and they've always known this, There's a phrase that's been around a long, long time. That phrase is money never sleeps. What does a wealthy person mean when they say money never sleeps? What does a wealthy person mean when they say that? They're not. Their money is. They sleep great. Rich people sleep great. But their money never sleeps. Their money is constantly making more money. Are you with me? But for common folk, most people, we have to do what? Exchange our life for money. You need to know that. I need to know that. We need to know that. That is a human principle. I'm not even saying it's a biblical principle. It's a human principle. It's just the way things work in the world. So we just need to know that. What does the Bible say about money? Quite a lot, turns out. Because money is foundational to life. Now, will we ever be moneyless? Maybe. I know in the new heaven and the new earth, I can't imagine there being money. But in this world, in this existence, this pre-second coming of Christ, there has been money since the earliest times. Even the bartering system. Bartering is a type of money. Y'all understand that. You're exchanging goods and services for other goods and services, all still wrapped up in you exchanging your life for things. Bartering is just a simplified version of money. Guess how many verses in the Bible related to money? 2,300. 2,300. Is that a lot? More than 2,300 verses related to money. Roughly, how much of Jesus' public preaching and teaching related to money? Percentage. Give me a percentage. 30, that's high. That's a little high. 25 is still a little high. I like how you went right below it, like we were doing a game show, because that's normally the strategy. 15%, that's still a lot. 15% of his public preaching was on money. 15%. He taught 39 parables. Jesus gave us 39 parables, 11 of them, almost a third of them related to money. Two of my favorites. One of my favorites is the one where he talks about the woman who lost. What did the woman lose?
Lost a coin.
Was it a coin or a pearl? Who lost a pearl in a parable? Somebody lose a pearl in a parable? No, I think you're right, Josh. I'm thinking of something else. Okay. That would still be about. So she lost a coin, and what did she do when she lost a coin? Threw everything upside down, looked everywhere until she found it, right? So here's the last thing I want to say about this. Money is a primary mirror. Somebody fill in this blank. Money is a primary mirror of an individual's blank motivation. What word do you think goes there? Heart. Money is a mirror of an individual's heart motivation. Here's what I mean by that. What we think about money is what we think about what is important, what values we hold. Raise your hand if you're a giver. You think of yourself as a giver. Now, don't raise your hand too quickly, because I'm not looking to praise anybody. But I mean, you're sincerely like you just like giving, and you give things of tangible value. Raise your hand if that's you. Givers don't generally raise their hands on things like that. I know that there are givers in this room. I'm not one of them. I'll be honest with you. As a child and then becoming an adult, I was a collector. Guess what collectors don't like to do? They don't like to give. They like to what? Get. They like to store and house and stack things. That's what collectors do. Do you understand that over time as an adult, who was in Christian ministry, I had to wrestle with that. On one hand, I was giving my life to the Lord in ministry and in serving others. So with my life, with my hours, I was exchanging my life for service for others. But in my money, what money I had, I enjoyed collecting things. Comic books, toys, mostly comic books and toys. And so for me, I had to wrestle with that. I had to go, God, I don't think I was made for this. I don't think you built me for this. I don't think I was designed for this. And so I had to just kind of let loose. And that took a long time. It was a process. But I know givers. I know people who, with their lives, they give of their lives. They give it tangibly. They enjoy giving away gifts. And so I'm using those as two examples, one negative and one positive. But money is a mirror of your heart. Money is a mirror of your heart. So in the Bible, 2,300 verses on money, are those verses really about money? Are those verses really about money? Yes or no? No. What are they about? They're about me. They're about you. I'll give you one, and I'm going to mangle it, so let me try to get it right. Let's see if it's one of my ones down. How did I not put this verse down here? It's like the best verse. Someone help me find it. I think I can do it right. For wherever your heart is... No, see, I got to get it right. I'm looking it up. I hate to Google verses. Okay. All right. Matthew 6:21. Listen to how brilliant God's Word is. Listen to how brilliant God's Word is. This is why I love this verse. This is my favorite verse. Let's all write it down at the bottom of our page. Matthew 6:21. This verse is brilliant. And it's not about money. It's about the human heart. But it's about money. For wherever your treasure is, there your heart will be also. Here's why that's brilliant. If I were trying to be clever, I would have said, wherever your heart is, that's where your treasure will be. In other words, wherever you put your heart, that's where you will find your collection. Wherever you place your heart, wherever you put your heart, wherever you move your heart, that's where your good stuff will be. Are you with me? That's how I would have done it in human wisdom. What did God do? God, infinitely more wise, infinitely more profound, infinitely more clever, and infinitely knowing the human heart, said wherever your treasure is, wherever the thing is, that's where your heart goes. That's brilliant. And I can tell you, I'll be 52 next month, as a 51 and 11/12, that's brilliant. Wherever the thing is, whatever catches your eye, what the thing that you admire and want and lust and care for, pick a verb, whatever the thing and wherever the thing is, your heart goes to that. The way it's written, it's like you're not in control even. It's just humans are designed to chase after things. Humans are designed to follow and wander after things. It's giving us less agency and reminding me how frail we are. Does it make sense what I'm saying? Because I would have said, God, my treasure is where my heart is. No, the treasure, your heart follows it. It's there doing its thing, just being treasure. It doesn't. Here's another way of saying it. Treasure doesn't care about you. And it doesn't. It rots, it fades. Comic books are hilarious to me, by the way. They were designed to be read and thrown away. Do you know that? They were designed on the cheapest paper possible, with the cheapest printing possible, sold in newsstands, to be bought by children, mangled and thrown away. And 100 years later, adult males primarily are still trying to keep them in pristine condition as if they're gold bullion. That's funny. But it says something about the human heart. Are you with me? And if you think you can make fun of me for comic books, trust me, your thing is just as dumb. I know my thing is dumb. Are you with me? My thing is dumb. My thing is dumb. But also my heart is no longer there. I can talk about it this way. But wherever your treasure is, your heart just... And you look up and you're 2 years, 5 years, 20 years in, and you're going, how did I give my heart to this thing? So money is an incredible... Money, wow, money. Right? So the Bible has a lot to say about money. The Bible has a lot to say about economics. But it's really not about economics. Let's read these quickly. Can I get somebody, just read the definition of economics, somebody.
Study of how to manage resources.
Study of how to manage resources is economics. Stewardship. Use and care of. That's a word we use a lot in the Bible, right? Stewardship. By the way, the earth, who owns it? That was quick. Good job, Christian Worldview Sunday Schoolers. The earth is the Lord's, Psalm says, and everything in it. Psalm 50, the cattle on 1,000 hill are His. We are what then? We are stewards. Good. Capitalism. Somebody read it.
An economic theory that prioritizes private ownership and the right to keep and earn funds.
For our purposes this morning, we're not doing a super deep dive on economics. There's no way to do it. I know some of you are already thinking about the exceptions to the rules and the exceptions to the exceptions and the exceptions to the exceptions. We're not doing a deep dive on economics this morning. There's just no way. We're doing a broad surface level view. But for our purposes, capitalism is the theory that says private ownership, good. Right? Owning stuff, good. Socialism.
An economic theory that prioritizes government control over personal wealth.
So again, for our purposes, keeping it simple, if capitalism says private ownership good, socialism says the government can own some stuff also. How much? More than capitalists, right? This is a sliding scale. We're on a sliding scale. What's communism?
An economic theory that says that wealth is the property of the government and is given back to the...
Now that's, if there is a sliding scale and capitalism is on one end, communism would then be on the other. Communism says who owns the stuff? The government, the state, the nation owns the stuff and they let you have some of it. Are you with me? Well, we're not doing all that. God bless you, Mama. Happy Mother's Day. Adam, you're going to see where it all comes from today. So if communism is on one extreme and capitalism is on the other extreme, just think of this as a sliding scale. I'm not saying you and I have to agree today on all of this, but socialism is going to be somewhere along the scale. Are you with me? And every nation is going to dance and play with what levels do they want government to control? How much do they want government to control? So we're not doing all of that today. We're not. But just know that those are basic understandings. Communism says we own it all, the state. Capitalism says individuals can do it, can own it. Socialism, somewhere in the middle. Okay? Incentives. This is key. This is one, in the same way that I really wanted us to talk about money, I want to talk about incentives because I think too many people don't think about incentives. Somebody read this one. The actions and results that motivate someone to change their what? Behavior, positively or negatively. The two greatest motivators for behavioral change known to man, I believe with all my heart, stay with me, religion and video games. Two greatest incentives ever invented. Religion sets in play your eternal soul. Do I have your attention? Your eternal soul is in play. Now, Christianity, by the way, given to us by God, man didn't create Christianity. But every other religion, I believe, is man-made. See my bias? My bias is on full display. But religion is a great motivator for behavioral change. Agree or disagree? Agree or disagree? Then it stinks pretty bad for humanity that we've given it up. We could use more religion in our lives because it's great for behavioral change. Second one, video games. Why are video games such great modifiers for behavioral change? What do they do? What do they train? What do they teach? Go left, then right, then left, fall over a cliff and die. What aren't you going to do the next time? You're now going to go left, then right, then left, and fall off a cliff. Are you with me? You're going to go left, left again, then right, then jump over the cliff and live. Then from then on, you're going to do that every single time. Are you with me? Are you with me? Here's the problem with video games. Video games want you to live within video games 24/7 all the time, 365 days of the year. What we've got to do is live our lives as if we're living a video game. And stop playing video games as if it's our life. Man, I got to copyright that. That's good. That just happened in real time. But bringing video game incentivization into our lives is a good thing. I've said this for decades. You want to level up? Treat your life as if you're trying to level up in a video game. Read more, work out more, eat less, study more, engage with humans more, bathe more. Deodorant is good. All the things that make us better humans. Pray, read your Bible, come to church. All those things, start gamifying your life. Just game it up. And I don't care how you do it. Reward yourself with a muffin. Buy a video game. I don't care. Incentives work, and in economic theory, they are widely misunderstood. And when economists widely misunderstand incentives, we get bad societies. If you incentivize giving money away rather than working for it, you get people who want money for free, which is a terrible incentive. If you incentivize CEOs to go from making 30% of the average worker to 3,000% of the average worker, you've incentivized the wrong thing. So I don't care which extreme of society you look at. I don't care if you look at the poorest. I don't care if you look at the wealthiest. Incentives matter. And if you incentivize bad behavior economically, you're going to get a bad society. Make sense? Again, we don't have time to go through all this. But does this matter to Christians? Why? I want my neighbor to pay his taxes. Why? Why? I don't want him to lose his house. Right. If he's not paying his taxes, why am I paying mine? I want my neighbor to feel the same pain and agony that I do when I pay my taxes. Because then my neighbor and I might decide not to vote for that guy next time. Are you with me? These are complicated things. Economics. All right. Spheres of authority. I'm almost done. Spheres of economic authority. I can think, by the way, I drew circles around mine. If you want to draw circles around these 4 spheres, I couldn't figure out how in Word or Microsoft Google Docs, I could not figure out how to draw circles around my spheres. We've done this before, the 3 main spheres. What are the 3 main spheres given to us by God? These 3 spheres were created by God. Do you recall this? Can you think of them? Major spheres of authority. 3 main ones. What did God create? He created the church. God created families, what's the third major sphere of authority in society? He created nations. He created the state. Okay? God did that. Okay? So families, churches, state. Right? That's why we say Christianity is not a man-made religion. Christianity was given to us by God. Judaism was given to us by God. Okay, those are the three main spheres of authority. This is 4 spheres within economics. You with me? 4 spheres within economics. And I want us to talk about this for just a few minutes, and then I'm going to break you up into groups. Government, the owner, the customer, and the worker. Here's what I need you to understand. All economic theories, for as long as I've known about economic theories, talk about the tension between these 4 spheres. It's all about the tension. Karl Marx, who gives us communism, that's all he talked about. For him, it was all power dynamics, all of it. And so he would talk about the worker versus the state, the worker versus the capitalist, the owner, in Marx's mind. And so communism is one long discussion about these 4 spheres of authority. But these spheres have been around a very, very long time. If you went to the market, let's say you're the wife. Let's say you're the wife and you keep the pocketbook and you're in the Middle Ages. And you've got your silver in your hand, right? Your husband and you've worked hard for it. He's plowed the fields and you've kept the home and you've sold some linen on the side and y'all have got a little bit of silver in your hand. And let's say that every time you go to the market, you take 10 silver coins to the market. And you know what you need, you know what you got to get, and then you go home. You with me? And let's say that the flour and the oil always adds up to 9 silver, which leaves you how many silvers? 1 silver. And with that 1 silver, you always try to make your family's life a little bit better, right? Maybe you buy some spices, maybe you buy some extra fabric, whatever. You're always trying to hold on to that 1 silver so that you can make your family's life a little bit better. But the oil and the flour, that's 9 silver. And it's been that forever. And you go into the village and you're excited because you've already got it in your mind that you're going to make a dessert for your husband and your children. And you're very excited about that. And you get up there and the oil and the silver and the oil and the flour are now 19 silver. What do you do? What do you do? 19 silver for oil and flour. What do you do? Panic? I hear panic. To that I amen. Sister Shaoli, this is not a story that has no meaning. Would you agree?
Yeah, I agree.
This is a real story for us, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm thinking that to cut the meal plan, like.
Right. But Wilson still wants to eat. You know, children, I don't mean children in a derogatory term, young people, the adults in this room have been living with this for our entire adult lives, but also through inflationary periods. This is a reality. You're not a child, Josh. Welcome to adulthood. Welcome to married man. These are realities. These are realities. So that when you leave the store, you have some of this that you wanted, and you have none of this that you wanted, and you have 2 of this rather than 8 of this that you wanted. Do you feel the tension? Do you hear it? These are real tensions. Marx's argument didn't come out of thin air. Right? And by the way, I'm not a Marxist. I am not a communist. Pastor She will be happy to hear that on the microphone. Not defending communism at all. But his arguments didn't come from nowhere. So there's always been tension between these 4 groups. Okay? Very quickly. What kind of a tension does an owner have with everybody else? What tension would an owner have? What's the owner's goal? Make how much money? A lot of money? I've told y'all this.
As much as
All the money.
Yeah, all the money.
What's the goal of a capitalist? To make a little money? All the money. What's all? I've known, listen, You can go find famous quotes of famous rich people. It's not hard because we write books about famous rich people. And go read the things that they say about money. Because reporters were smart enough to ask them those questions dating back a couple hundred years. And they will say things to them like, Mr. Rockefeller, when will it be enough? And you know what Mr. Rockefeller would say? It's never going to be enough. I learned something collecting comic books that John D. Rockefeller never learned. So the tension for an owner in the economic system is they want all of it. How big does Apple want to be? Yes. The answer is yes. How big does Zuckerberg want to get Microsoft? All of it. He wants aliens on other planets to be on Facebook. So the owner's tension is they want all the stuff. What's the government's tension?
Everyone wants everything.
Okay. I have a pretty clever way of saying it, so I'm hoping somebody else can say it before I can. Here, it's kind of a joke. The government wants everything that's not theirs. Right? Like that company doesn't belong to the government. Do you understand that? Now, does the government have a right to take some of that to provide for the common good of the nation? Yes. I think as Christians even we would say yes. Right? Yes. But what's the tension? The government wants more and more and more. By the way, is the government going to spend it well? Historically have government, go back to Greece, go back to Rome, and come forward. Go back 3,000 years and come forward. Historically, have governments spent money well? I mean, how many bathhouses do the Romans need? You understand the common folk couldn't go in the really nice ones. You understand that? The really nice ones were for the senators passing the laws about more bathhouses. There's always been power, and as long as there's been power, there's been a corruption of it, and a deception of it, and a control of it. So the same kinds of problems that owners run into, governments run into. Nancy Pelosi, I'll just say again, has gotten really, really, really wealthy in the last 15 years on the stock market. And one of her roles as a public servant is she gets information about corporations before you do and before you do and before I do. We got some really weird laws in this country that are allowing public politicians to purchase stocks with information that they have before you have it. I think she makes $175,000 a year, and she's got tens, if not hundreds of millions of dollars. I'm in the wrong line of work, I guess. Governments want control. Governments want control. That's a tension. What's a customer want? What's the tension for a customer? What does a customer want?
Spend less money.
Spend less.
Yeah, get more services.
Get more services and goods. Yeah. Where's the tension with that? Now, we're mostly customers in here. Is that fair? I don't know of any business owners. Do we have any business owners in here? We're all just part of the system. We're mostly customers in here. You might be thinking, what's wrong with that? Getting more and spending less. There's nothing wrong per se with it, but if you get more and pay less, can the owner of the company, the widget maker, can they stay in business? I'll use Walmart as a customer for the moment. I know this because I used to work. I did for years. I was a pastor, but I was doing basically auditing on the side, and the auditing was of companies that sold products to Walmart. Are you with me? And so Walmart, in this example, is a customer. So as a customer, does Walmart have a lot of power? Yes or no?
Yeah.
Okay, y'all get that. As a customer, Walmart would go to these coffee makers and ice makers and toasters, small appliances. Walmart would go to these appliance makers and say, we want that coffee maker. And the coffee maker would go, great, it's $12.80, wholesale price. And Walmart would go, not today it's not, and not to me it's not. Now it's $8.38. And the coffee maker would go, I can't do that. I sell this coffee maker for $12 to you. You can sell it for as much as you want. Walmart says, not only are we going to sell it for as much as we want, but we're still going to get it from you at $8.38. Then the coffee maker salesman goes back to his coffee maker place and goes, hey boss, get this. Walmart wants to give us $4 less on the coffee makers than everybody else does. And what does the guy go? Sell it. Now, why would that coffee maker do that? Who sells the most coffee makers in America?
Walmart.
It's not complicated. Do you see how a customer can harm an owner? Do you see that? And customers do harm owners. If you, watch, I'm going to do air quotes. If you slip and fall in a store and then sue the store owner and get a really large payout, your injuries were this much, your injuries, you understand I'm saying you're cheating. I'm not talking about a real injury. I'm air quoting. If you cheat a company by suing them, just using an example, a small company, mom and pop store, did you cheat them? Did you wrong them? Can customers wrong owners? Yes or no?
Yes.
Are you starting to see that everybody can harm everybody in this economic system? These are the things you're not taught as children. As children, a lot of us are taught corporation's good, customers good, everybody's happy. Everybody can harm everybody in an economic system. Turns out everybody does harm everybody. That's why we have lawyers. Lawyers can harm people too. Everybody can harm everybody in an economic system. And then you got the worker. You got the worker. Most of us in here, all of the adults in here are workers. How can a worker be harmed by the corporation? Low pay? Never getting a raise? These are real life examples. Sorry? No rest, no benefits. I'll give you a statistic. Are you ready? This one's going to hurt. Adam, get ready. Get out your antacid. Get your antacids ready. Productivity in America since the 70s has gone what? Up or down? Productivity. The productivity of the American worker. This is a massive statistic. The American worker. Productivity, up or down? Steadily. Boop, 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 since the 70s. Productivity. Wages, since the 70s. Wages. Flatlined. I would even take decline. Yeah, you would say just this much. Yeah. We're both agreeing, not this. They have flatlined or decreased since the 70s. Productivity this much, wages this much. That's not me saying that, that's economic theorists saying that. That's people who look at all the data and show it on graphs. And that's not left or right, liberal or conservative. That's just data. American productivity of the worker, American wages for the American worker. So is the worker getting mistreated in that scenario? Some of the adults grumbling would say yes. Why is this important? Why is it important as a Christian that we have these kinds of conversations?
They're relevant.
In what way? I agree, Josh. They're relevant in what way?
That's just the way that it's things that we all experience pretty much on a daily basis, I
Yeah.
guess. So since it's relevant, it helps us to remember how our beliefs directly tie to this, because I think a lot of times it's easy for us to separate our beliefs and religion from our work life.
Yeah,
So
that's good.
now we get more chance to help us.
Yeah, good. Someone else?
To show where the money flow, how the money flows.
Yeah. And of course, the Lord has been telling us since day one, where does the money flow? Does it flow up or down? It flows up. It goes up. I mean, all of our monies go up, right? As I said, CEO wages went from, like if a worker made this much, a CEO would make this much. Those percentages the CEOs now make. My arms aren't long enough. The percentages are ridiculous, right? Yeah. Christians have to worry about two extremes, by the way. Is this in Proverbs, neither let me be too rich or too poor? Or is that in Psalms?
I think that's in Psalms.
Yeah, I think so. There's a beautiful couple of verses in the Psalms. You should hear them. Listen. Lord, make me neither too rich nor too poor. Lord, make me neither too rich nor too poor. If you make me too poor, I may sin against you, dishonor you. I may steal and therefore dishonor you. If you make me too rich, I may forget you. And everybody in here is middle class, whatever that means. To which I say, I really do love those couple verses in Psalms. But as a Christian, do we need to be concerned about those extremes? Do we need to be concerned about the poor? Yes or no? If there are poor people in our land, to use a Deuteronomic phrase, should we not be worried that they might steal or worse? Should that not concern us? Should we not be concerned about their well-being as well? And if they are too rich, we know that Jesus had much to say about the rich. Should we not be concerned about their souls as well? These are complex. There's no way we can do all this. No way. All right, I'm gonna shut up. Do y'all have any questions or comments? And we're gonna close with these. We can do these verses together. Do you have any questions or comments? Y'all do know that I literally just turned open a fire hydrant and just blasted y'all, which should have been done over about 6 hours. And we did it in like 38 minutes. Any questions or comments? We live, I'm just going to repeat something Josh said. We live in and around economics. We can't run from it. If you decide that you're not going to live your life living in an economic reality, it doesn't matter because everybody else is. Ergo, you're in an economic reality. And young people, you'll understand this as you age. The adults know this all too well. Oftentimes the money runs out before the calendar runs out. And you will have to make hard choices about where you live, where your children go to school, what you own, how you own it, what you're willing to exchange in your life for things. These are all decisions you're going to have to make with your life. And some of it you're going to get right and much of it you're not. It's going to require faith, repentance, humility, courage. While you're trying to balance your checkbook, you're going to be living a deeply spiritual life. Questions or comments? What is the purpose of money? What would you say? What is the purpose of money? In your own words. I'll say it one more time. It's the revealer of the human heart. A rich man who says there's never enough, he has just revealed his heart. Any man who says that. A middle class man who says that has revealed his heart. A poor man who says that has revealed his heart. Money is the revealer. Money is a revealer. It is a great revealer of the human heart. All right, what does the Bible say? Let's just fill in these blanks. Let's just do these together. Will somebody read Genesis 2:15? Go ahead, Ian. No, they're all right here. I bet you can fill in the word as you go. Y'all can look them up too.
The Lord God took the man and put him in the Garden of Eden to work and to take care of it.
There it is. What does the Bible teach about work? This relates to economic theory. That's another verse. Well, I think it's down here too. Yeah, 1 Corinthians 10. Is work evil, good, bad, indifferent? What is work? Who created work? When? This is very important. If you learn nothing else I say today, you need to know this. When does God create work? With Adam, when? Before or after? Yes. Before the fall. Never forget that. What will we do in the millennial reign? We will work. What are the activities that man is described as doing on the new heaven and the new earth? Last 2 chapters of the Bible. We eat, we worship, we stand in His presence, we live with God, and we work. Work is good. Work can be great. When God made it, it was morally good. I hope that you find something to do with your life and with your hands that you find ultimately satisfying. I hope that you do. I hope that you do. I hope one day somebody gives you little green slips of paper that it won't be enough. Trust me, it will not be enough. But I hope someday somebody gives you little slips of paper in exchange for parts of your life that you're giving in work. I hope that happens for you. I hope you find dignity in it and value in it and pleasure in it. Deuteronomy 14:28-29. Somebody read that.
Every year you should bring out all the tithes of your produce for that year and deposit them within your community. For the Levite who has no hereditary portion with you, and also the resident alien, the orphan, and the widow within your gates, may come and eat and be satisfied. So that the Lord your God will bless you in all that you entertain.
In your own words, Adam, what is that? What are those verses telling us as followers of Christ? What are those verses reminding us? Yeah, share a portion, right? Every able-bodied family who God is blessed with a husband and wife or a formidable family unit. You create wealth, then you give it out to the fatherless, the orphan, the widow, the alien in your land, the Levite, which is the priest who doesn't do all the farming, right? Before there was a government that was doing the giving, there were religious institutions designed by God that were doing the giving. I will tell you, this is one penny's worth of opinion this morning. If the government decided tomorrow to stop giving as much resources as they do in this country, the church would have a very difficult time helping the community. Something has been lost in our midst. Something great, something grand has been lost in our midst. And Adam, we talk about church, two kingdom, we talk a lot about those things. When the church stopped being a communal giver of tangible gifts, it was yet another nail in our coffin. You agree with that? When the government took that from us, it gave the people one less reason to come to us. And so we lost something there as well. And that happened in force in the 60s. In force. Big. And when did the churches start to decline in this country? In the 60s. It was another incentive that no one was thinking about. No one. So why would I go to a church? Why would I go to a church for a hot meal and some extra clothes if the government would just give me those things and I could stay at my home? But if you're engaged with a church, if you're part of a church, if you're in the community of a church, you're going to be literally integrated into that community. And also, I'm not going to feel bad about giving you those things, because you are my brother, you are my sister. So a lot was lost. A lot was lost. Job 1 through 3. Somebody read that for us. Somebody that had, you got it open. Y'all listen as Stacy reads. Go ahead and write these numbers in as she reads.
In the land of Uz, there lived a man whose name was Job. This man was blameless and upright. He feared God and shunned evil. He had 7 sons and 3 daughters. And he owned 7,000 sheep, 3,000 camels, 500 yoke of oxen, and 500 donkeys. Thank you.
Was Job a poor man or a rich man? Or a man in the middle? Job was a very rich man. The Bible describes Job as blameless and upright, a fearer of God. If you are rich, does that mean you are evil? No, other than the normal evil of the human heart, right? Still a sinner. Job was a sinner in need of a Savior, but he was blameless and upright. 1 Kings 4:25. If you can guess the word, you can put it in there. Own? Yeah, read it, Ian. Really loud.
And Judah and Israel lived in safety from Dan even to Beersheba, every man under his vine, under his fig tree, all the days of Solomon.
Every man under his own, O-W-N, his own. Does the Bible teach private ownership? Yes or no? And we would call that in modern terms capitalism. Is the Bible more communistic or capitalistic? The worldview of the Bible. It is more capitalistic. There's no getting around that. Proverbs 10:4. Somebody read that.
I think I know it all.
Go ahead.
Folded hands make a man poor, but diligent hands break wealth.
I like that interpretation. Folded hands. Folded hands. The word I have there is lazy hands. Hands that do not work. Idle hands. Yeah, I like your interpretation. Lazy hands, idle hands, folded hands make a man poor, but diligent hands bring wealth. If you want something, work for it. You've been told that before, surely. And if you want it hard enough, then you'll work hard for it. You know who made me? We don't have time for that. Jeremiah 32:42-44.
For thus says the Lord, just as I have brought upon these people all this great evil, so I will bring upon them all the good I have promised them. Fields shall be purchased in this land about which you said, it is a wasteland, without human beings or animals, handed over to the Chaldeans. They will purchase fields with silver, write up deeds, seal them, and have them witnessed in the land of Benjamin, in the neighborhood of Jerusalem, in the cities of Judah, and of the hills of the country, and in the cities of Shephelah and Negev.
So to put this in context, Jeremiah is prophesying under the Israelites being in Babylon. They have been made slaves and captives in Babylon, And Jeremiah, the prophet of God, is reminding the Jews that you will one day again, what? Read what it says. God promises a return to Israel, buying and selling and owning land. So again, a prophecy, a blessing of God that they will one day again own stuff. 2 Thessalonians 3:10. This is a tough one, but it should be known in the church at least. Church members need to know this verse. Loudly, Caleb. If a man will not work, he shall not eat. That's a good rule. Good biblical wisdom. It would stop a lot of shenanigans. And again, in the church, it has to apply. It ought to apply in a nation, but it has to apply in a church. We must be better. We must do better. This was an early rule for the church. 1 Corinthians 10:31. This is the one Miss Paula just read it again.
Therefore, whether you eat or drink, or whatever you do all to the glory of God.
Who do you work for? You work for God. So if your boss is a stinky guy who is just a bad, terrible, bad, very bad man, you can look for another job, great. But while you do that job and take that paycheck, why do it well?
Because you're not working for man, you're working to glorify the Father.
Even if you work at a paint store?
Yes.
Even if you're cleaning bathrooms? Even if you're toting lumber? These are all jobs I've had. Talking about me.
That's actually very honorable.
Right? It's the only way a Christian can live. It's the only way a Christian can show up to work with a smile on their face. This is why we're different. This is why Christian worldview is Christian worldview and not worldview. I don't work for you. I serve you. I work for my King. I want you to hear that again. I don't work for any of you. I serve you. I work for my King. Final thoughts or comments? Questions, comments? We did way too much in 45 minutes. This is 6 hours. Are we all, you know how I said we're not all going to agree on governments? We're also not all going to agree on all economic theory. You understand that, right? We're not all going to agree on all economic theory. You know who else doesn't agree on all economic theory? Economic theorists. They fight like cats and dogs. But we have a book, we have a Bible, we have a 2,000-year heritage that works. It just works. So the big stuff, the broad stuff that I think we've talked about, I think that stuff works. 2,300 verses in the Bible on money. I think we probably ought to pay attention to them. Man, you guys have been quiet today. Y'all don't like talking about money? Classic.